Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are looking at some Marvel Crisis Protocol today, and we are looking at Spider Foes. This is the Electro, Sandman, Shocker, and Vulture character pack for Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is a big old pack. You're getting 4 different characters and a whole lot of plastic, especially with Sandman. This guy looks incredibly cool. Now, this was sent out by Atomic Mass Games. So big thanks to AMG. I haven't covered Marvel Crisis Protocol in a while, but keep in mind I do still play. It's one of those games that I play a lot but don't talk about as much because I don't... like there's some stuff I don't have, and I don't it's just one of those things that I can only I only talk about certain things because, well, frankly, I don't know as much about MCP as I do about the other games, and so I'm dipping my feet back in. I mean, I'm not really back in. I never really stopped playing, but I only play kind of once in a while. So, but this is really cool because this is a whole lot of characters all at once, and I think combining this with some of the older characters that I think I have like all of the Spider Foes right now, which means I have some really cool team building options. So this is really cool. So I'm excited. We're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna look at the cards. We're gonna look at the sprues. We're gonna look at all of this. This is our credits page. So big thanks to everybody who helped bring this to your tabletops. If you are interested in checking this out, I'll put a link where you can look at this and other Marvel Crisis Protocol expansions over at the Asmodee website. That'll be in the video description below. Also, you can enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. There's still time left to enter to win that. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. But yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. This is a lot of plastic here, but actually, considering you're getting 4 different characters and I guess like 6 different bases with all the stuff that goes for Sandman, it's not that much. I've had single minis that have had more plastic than this, so more pieces. So it doesn't look like they're gonna be incredibly difficult to assemble like this. Look at these hands. Oh my gosh. I love this thing that they're doing now with the plastic, that you'll have certain bits of sprue that are connected. It's very cool. So they're not rattling around as much, helps them stay more secure in the box. This is very cool. We've got a lot of pieces of Sandman right here on this piece. Let me go ahead and separate this one so we can get a more clear look at Sandman's torso, front and back, right there. We got the big fist right there. The other still big fist. We've got ultimately the really bigger fist. It's better than big. It's huge. It's very big. And all of this special swirly effects. This is just such a cool idea for a miniature. Very cool stuff. And I'm looking forward to painting this too. This is going to be something I'm going to have to do more with this in a future video. We've got some of the other folks here. I think it's Electro. We've got this sprue here, and we'll take closer looks at these guys. I think this is Shocker, and then Vulture up there as well. Very cool. And then more Sandman. Okay. So not too bad. That's just basically like 3 frames, and then we've got bases. Oh boy, we got a lot of bases. How many bases do we get in this? All right, so we've got 1 by itself. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now it's usually always going to be a few spares, and I think you're only going to need what, like 1 or 2 of the small bases. I'll have to go online and verify the base sizes on these before I start putting them together. I don't want to put these dudes on the wrong bases, because that would not be ideal. But it looks like he's got some big bases. Actually, they all look like they have big bases. I'll check. They always have a base size reference list on the website, so you can go to AMG and double check all of that. So we can make sure we get the right bases on there. We've got a lot of cards too. Let's take a closer look at all of these cards. All right, so we've got our cards out now. They do come with lots of alternate language cards as well, so you're getting plenty of extra those, but we're just going to focus on the English cards for right now. So we're looking at Shocker first. He's a 4/3/3, 5 health, 3 cost, 3 threat rather, 2 height, medium movement. He's got a builder here that has stun on it. He's got a stagger for 4 cost, which is 7 die stagger, which is actually, that's pretty nice. I like stagger. All right. And he's got this vibrational shield, so you can add 2 to your defense roll, but it costs you 2. Whenever somebody within 2 of him makes an attack, they roll 1 fewer die. So he seems very defensive against melee, and also energy, I guess. But if you can hit him with that blue mystic attacks, and he's immune to stun. If we flip him over, that's the backside of his card. All right, next up we've got Electro, looking really cool. 3/4/3, 6/4/2, and short move. It's got an electric discharge, which is going to be his builder. It's a 5-4 range builder, pretty good, and it has shock on it. Overload the grid. He does a lot with terrain, which is pretty cool. He's got basically you can destroy a terrain feature size 3 or less within 3, and you can add dice equal to your thing to the to your attack equal to the size. So you want to have a lot of like cars and things a little bit bigger than cars on here, right? And so which is pretty cool. I kind of like that. It really takes advantage of a populated board, which is super groovy. At least cars though. You want at least 2s. I think 3s are what like very very small buildings. So like newsstand, isn't the newsstand a 3? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but yeah. So that's there's not too many 3s usually on a lot of boards. You want a good variety of 1, 2s, 3s, 4s, and maybe something even bigger. I'm working on some really cool boards right now. If any of you guys have seen my latest Cyberpunk battle report, that's kind of some of the terrain I want to use for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So yeah, I think it's going to work really, really well in inner city terrain. Super cool stuff. All right, we got Ride the Wires. He basically this is like a teleport for him, but it has to be a size 2 or greater within 3, and then he drops his objectives, and then he places within 2 of the terrain feature. So that one's pretty cool. He's got Live Wire. When somebody ends their movement within him, he can pay 2, and they roll dice and they suffer. And so they don't get to defend against it. They just, and that's a good thing for like really high defense characters. Just for moving near him, you can just suffer potentially 4 damage, which is nasty. Of course, he's gonna have 2 power to do that. So he's gonna be, possibly using a lot of power. Get it, Electro? Use a lot of power. Oh, Electrostatic is the next one. He's after he attacks. Targeting him, after somebody targeting him attacks, he can use this. If they're within 3, it's going to suffer 1 and gains the shock special condition. So if they move near him, boom, up to 4 damage, and then they hit him, oh, here's another damage. And then when he goes, he's just going to throw terrain at you and shock you and do all this stuff. And he can fly, and he's got immunity to shock. We'll flip him over. That's the backside of his character as well. All right. Next is Vulture. He's 3/3/3. 5/3/2 medium. He's got a Raptor Strike, which is his builder as a melee with bleed. He's got Skyline Hunter, an 8-die attack, and he can throw them medium, which is I guess he's like swooping in and kind of picking them up off the ground a little bit before letting them go. So kind of throwing them, which is different because he's got Abduct, which is a whole different type of picking them up off the ground. He's got Hit and Run, which we've seen before. Move and attack is always nice. Abduct, 2 cost. During his activation, when he begins a move action within 2 of an enemy character, he can use it. And then after the move action is resolved, he can place them within 2 of his current position. And he can only do that once. So you can basically pick somebody up and carry them away. That can be dangerous because you might have to get close to a character, pull them away from the rest of their group, and make them more susceptible to their other big range attacks. I think that's a really cool ability that he's got. And he's got Scientific Hubris. If he rolls a bang, he gets a power, and he's got Flight. Here's the back of his card. There we go. Right there, Vulture. Oh, he's looking a little angrier in that art. That's great art on these cards too, by the way. Really, really good artwork. And then we've got Sandman, who's super, super cool. We're going to take a look at his sand constructs as well. So I haven't picked up any of the expansions before that have grunts. So this is the first one that has grunts. It's these sand constructs that are going to count as grunts. These are the 2 sand constructs right here. And I think they're exactly the same, but you get 2 cards. And here's the back of them. Look at that. You got one. And then you can actually identify which one they go to, which is actually pretty cool on the back of the card. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so he can have 2. I guess normally you can only have 1 grunt. He can have 2. So it says you can have 2 sand constructs in your squad instead of the normal 1. Because when I first read that, I was like, wait a second. What is the normal one? I don't know. Normally people could have a sand construct, but I think it's because it's a grunt. So yeah, he's 4/4/3, 6/4/3 short move. He's got the Silicate Strike, a 5-die builder with throw. Having a free builder with throw is nice, but it is melee. He's got a beam 3 5-die attack with underfoot. Basically, after it's resolved, if it dealt any damage, you can push them short. It's got Punch in Your Ticket, which is an 8-die melee attack for 4, but you get to add 2 dice for each sand construct within 2 of the character. So if he's got his squad of sandy feet and sandy kicks and sandy punches, then he can make that 12 dice, which is a really big shot, which is fun. He can reabsorb his sand constructs here for 3. He can choose one within 3. He can place him within 1 of the chosen sand construct, and then it's KO'd and he removes a wound from himself. So it's like a teleport and absorb, so he's kind of morphing to it. You can kind of almost like see how that would happen, you know. And then he can create one. You can have 2, and of course, at the start of his activation, if there are fewer than 2 in play, he can suffer 2 and place a sand construct within play within 2 of this character, and it gains an activated token and is part of the squad. And then he's got Sand Manipulation. He gains 1 whenever a sand construct deals damage or suffers a wound from an enemy effect. So he's going to gain a lot of power. So I don't think, even a 4-die attack or reabsorb, I don't think these will be too difficult for him. He doesn't have a whole lot of things that use a whole lot of power, so I don't know if he's going to even need that much power, but I think he can use that power to play cards, and we're going to look at some of those team tactic cards in just a second. We've got the healing factor too. He's going to heal, and he's got Wall Crawler. Here's the backside of his card. So very cool there. Here's the sand constructs again. So they're 2/5/3 1/1/1. They're low defense on these guys. They're not going to last very long at all, are they? Well, they only have 2 health each. So yeah, somebody wants to go after those, they're going to probably kill it, but then he's going to gain a power, right? So I guess that's kind of the cool thing about it. I mean, plus he can heal. So if he's just making sand constructs, losing 2 health, he's healing and getting them back up. They can't have objective tokens. They're difficult terrain, and they have dust to dust. So they have to stay close to Sandman. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And of course, we also have our foreign language version of those as well. We have also some team tactics cards. We'll look at the backs. No, we'll look at the backs of each one as we do them. All right. So let's go with this one first. We've got Static Arc. I like this one. It deals with if Sandman and all allied sand constructs are in play. It's Sandman and Electro, right? If they're all within 5 of each other, Sandman and Electro can each spend a power to play this card. You draw a line between them, and anybody takes a damage and gets shocked if the line hits it. So you basically can make this big triangle, and anybody that it passes through can get shocked, which is really cool. Here's the other side of that. That is just a groovy, really cool looking art. That's one of the coolest pieces of art ever. Okay, we've got custom upgrades. A reactive at the start of the activation phase, an allied spider foe's character may spend 2 to play this card. Choose an enemy character. They gain singular focus, and if they kill a certain their enemy character, they lose singular focus. I don't know if this stays on them the whole rest of the game or if it's just the round, but it sounds like it stays on them until that enemy character dies. Basically, they get 2 extra dice when they're doing combat against somebody, whether they're attacking or defending. But if they're defending against anybody else, they remove 2 die from the defense roll. So this is this is probably a late game. I've absolutely positively got to kill Spider-Man, and that's how we're going to do that. Here's the backside of that card. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Rejuvenation. This is for Vulture. He can play 2, or rather, he can play this card during his activation. All characters and all allied characters and him within 2 remove all special conditions. So free card to play. That's situationally good, but maybe not super great. I don't know. I don't play that much. I don't know how common in the meta, putting up buttloads of special conditions on people are. I know that they happen sometimes in my games, but they're not You know, I don't know. I don't know. You let me know what you think of that card. All right, Strategic Retreat. This one's actually really cool. When a Spider Foe's character or allied is targeted by an attack, if it's holding one or more objective tokens, it can spend 4 to play this card. Choose another allied character within 3. Move an objective token from that character played to the chosen character. So you can pass an objective from one of your characters to another one of your characters, which is a very rare thing. It's usually, from my game and from my experience, it's really hard to do that. There's very few characters that have the ability to do that. I think it was like Ant-Man and Wasp or something like that. If you could shapeshift or if you could size change, you drop objective tokens, so you could kind of pass them that way. But this lets you directly pass it. That's why it costs 4, I think. And then it also lets you advance away. So it lets you pass a token and then lets you move as well. So it's kind of interesting. It's very situationally good, but this is definitely more on the strategic side. Hence the Strategic Retreat. All right, we've got Surprise Webhead. This one's nasty. Any number of allied Spider Foes characters may spend 2 each to play this card. Choose an enemy character. Each character that's spent power may immediately perform an attack with a cost of 0, targeting the chosen character. So basically, if you got Spider-Man surrounded, you can just have everybody give him a free punch. And maybe not their power attack, but at least one of their builders. And also, this is a cool way to get extra power, because if they're using one of those zeros, then they might actually gain some power from it, which is very cool. And there's the back art for it. Surprise Webhead. All right, last card, we've got the Founding Members. I'm doing this one in reverse. There's the art for it. And here we go. Founding Members. It does stuff for everybody. During the power phase, allied Spider Foe character, an allied Spider Foe may play this card. During this round, anytime a character suffers wound, an enemy character suffers a wound from an allied attack, you can choose one of the listed allied characters that's within 2 of the enemy character. If that enemy character gains that special condition shown corresponding to the allied character. So if somebody suffers damage and they're near Sandman, they can gain slow. If they're near Vulture, they can gain bleed. If they're near Mysterio, they can gain hex. Doc Ock, they can gain stun. If it's Electro, they can gain shock. And if it's Craven, they can gain poison. This one's a pretty cool card, and I don't think it costs any power to play. So it's just like a buff for the whole round. Just kind of lets everybody kind of contribute their own special nasty conditions to your opponent, which I'm sure is good for a round where you're kind of up close and personal and planning to get some lots of shooting and punching and kicking done. And that is it for our cards. All right, so I'm putting these together, and definitely keep this one for Sandman. Don't use it for any of the other folks, because you are going to want that big flat one, because his base will pretty much cover all of it, and all the other ones have those raised areas on them, so definitely keep this one for Sandman. All right, so we've got our guys put together here. We're going to take a look at them. First, we'll start off with Vulture. Looks pretty good. Now, he is only connected to the base by this single brick here, which glues on the front and the bottom. So if you didn't want him on here and you wanted him to just be standing on like a rock or something else, it would not be hard to just keep that brick and glue that onto whatever else, or even to trim the brick off. So you have some options if you're doing your own basing with him. Shocker here in a really good pose. This whole piece is optional. You don't have to use it. And his feet pieces are optional also, but they do help kind of brace him into his stance there. So if you're not going to use their terrain pieces, you're going to have to come up with your own method for getting him braced into the ground. Overall, though, really not difficult to get him together. Now, Electro was a little more difficult to get together. They also did offer an alternate head sculpt for Electro there. So if you wanted to you can do him without the mask, but honestly, like if there was any chance I was going to do him without the mask. This guy, because he has the 2 pieces here that steady him on both the foot and on his butt, and then this other piece which kind of steadies him on the back foot. But if you get those both in, this one was a little wiggly to get in there, but I took my time with it. And he's on there. He's pretty good. He reminds me a lot of when I was building Storm from the X-Men, and like one of the feet like didn't quite take, and so she's a little wobbly, wiggly, and so I wanted to make sure I really took my time with him. He wasn't hard to get together, but I also had to do this without the instructions since this one arrived a little early and I don't have the build instructions. So figuring it all out with the lightning was a little more difficult, but still, overall, not difficult to put together. I mean, it was a torso, front and back, leg, hand, face, mask, and then the lightning base pieces. And it's still, even without instructions, you can kind of see the little grooves on where they go in. So overall, he looks really cool. So make sure also when you're doing him, you put this foot in front of that lightning bolt there, and that allows it to kind of brace into the bolt. There's just a little groove for it to go in. Makes it a lot more steady and stable. Very, very cool. And of course, the beast, the man himself, the Sandman, the kind of the centerpiece of this whole piece. Definitely keep that big one flat base for him. Now, all these guys are on the 50 millimeter bases. I believe they're 50 millimeter. I did check the because these were updated with the base size chart. The smaller bases are going to go for your little sand constructs here. And so they both fit on those fairly easily, but you won't want to use any of the small bases with the raised edges because these do take up pretty much the whole small base. This one can kind of fit on one of these smaller ones if you wanted to go with this one. It does barely fit on there, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted one of the flatter bases, so I'd like to give you base options. But yeah, so gotta go with him. I gotta push this part in a little bit more. I gotta reseal that one. I didn't hold it tight enough when I glued it in. But here's the other one. Lots of extra little terrain pieces that got sucked up by these little vortexes of sand. So very cool stuff. But Sandman's looking pretty groovy. I love the shoulder design about how like the rebar is going right through his arm and he just kind of morphs around it. So, yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool, and especially right through here too. Very, very nice design on this guy. All right, that is going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this whole channel possible. And also big thanks to Atomic Mass Games for sending this out for review. We'll be doing some more with these in the future. Make sure you stay tuned to social media links in the video description below if you want to catch like painting updates and lots of cool stuff like that. These are going to be a fun one to put together. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and may the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.